Good evening, everybody. Hope that you're good. And we're here with quite a nice turnout from the local crew for the very first Dynamax Legendaries in Pokemon GO. We're already Dynamaxing here. Good little turnout of about nearly 20 people, I would say. So we've got a full lobby of 4, standard Dynamax system, 4 players in a lobby. And well, we've seen people during this, and I've even seen somebody soloing this. So we're going to do some damage first, and then because I've got maxed out Metagross, 2 98ers with max heal and max guard, we're going to do some healing for people, but I don't think anybody's really in need of healing, to be honest. Obviously can be Dynamax. Well, congrats to anybody who's got themselves a shiny Articuno Dynamax. We're hopefully going to get 2 or 3 completed tonight, depending on the overall interest. Now, I'm going to give a few points of view about this, because there are some things I think which are good, and some things I think which are less than ideal when it comes to the release of these Dynamax Legendaries, and perhaps we'll talk about that on this first battle. So, first up, the good. It's got people out on a Monday, which is crazy. Really good. And they stick around for a week, and I think the format is actually all right, to be honest, giving them a week of rotation each with a boost on a Monday. Maybe better to give them a boost on a weekend perhaps, but we know there's the weekends being chock-a-block with events this month and in February too. That's quite good, and it's also awesome to see Dynamax Legendaries coming in. They're going to be very usable and very powerful Pokemon. However, not necessarily for Articuno, because we've got some decent Pokemon we can use, the likes of Cinderace, Charizard, G-Max, and Dynamax. Metagross is a really good player. But it would have been really nice to have a Dynamax Rock type made available, be the likes of Geodude or Rhyhorn from Kanto, or even Larvitar or something. That would have provided an ideal counter versus Zapdos and Moltres, because as it stands, Zapdos we don't really have many counters for unless you've powered up your G-Max Lapras or a Cryogonal, but Articuno would suffice as being usable, to be honest. Let's get that energy there. Doesn't seem the worst, to be honest. We've got a lobby of 4. I know everybody in my party has pretty solid moves. At least tier 2. Most of us are maxed out on tier 3 Mons. They're all level 40 Pokemon. But I do think in that little research that we got, it would have been nice to have a Dynamax Geodude or a Dynamax Rhyhorn to give us a more ideal counter versus the legendary birds, like they did with Dynamax Drillbur versus G-Max Toxtricity ahead of the Go Wild area back in November. Honestly, this is actually proving very easy. We haven't even lost a Mon. Dynamaxing for, I think, the final time. Let me know if you're able to give these a bash or not, and if you did, how did it go? Was it good? Was there a good turnout? Were there any shinies or anything good? I think we'd be looking for 1743 for the hundo from rough memory. D-Max Legendary done. Now that gives me hope for maybe hitting a few during the week, actually. Let's see what we're going to get. Hopefully there's some good luck in the local crew. I'm not really sure there'll be anything else that gets people out for a Max Monday. Will it be? Bam! Not Dynamax, not Dynamax Shiny, unfortunately, and 1713. So quite a long way off of a hundo, but it's early days. And I will say this, well, fingers crossed we can catch, we have a Dynamax. That's good luck on catching this. It's good there's some shiny luck over there in the group. The other thing I would say about this event, people, is if you weren't able to do them, do not worry. Honestly, this is still early days for Dynamax and Gigantamax. It's gonna be probably a year or 2, and they'll make them either easier or more available, or in some way they'll come back around. They're probably going to be part of a Go Fest or another big live event in some way. They're going to have a tie-in. Don't stress too much. Although I should really be stressing about the catching of these things, because I don't know why it's been so problematic. Please stay in the ball. There we go. Captured. 1713 obviously isn't up there, but our very first Dynamax Articuno is 14-12-12. Could be worse, but really good to see that in. And actually, Articuno had a little nice update with triple axle, so it's a bit more usable as an ice type. Okay, we're into a second one, which has required a lot more coordination, because there were at least 2 teams of people who failed to do that first one, just because not everybody's powered up Dynamax stuff, like genuinely. And I can't blame them, you know, if it's not in their best interest or not something they're going to be invested in, then they're not going to power them up. So that's just how it goes. Our lobby here, though, the first one that got paired up, 2 lower level peeps and 2 high level peeps have actually done very well here. And I'm hoping everybody else has some success, because we'll hopefully be able to go and find some more. But 1 Rare XL, could it be the Dynamax? There was 1 Dynamax, as you heard there. We're not going to put anything in the power spot, and bam, not. It's better than the last one. 1725, that could be 89%. An excellent throw, very nice. Come on, I'm hearing some success over there. First ball catch, that's what we love to see. 3XL is this one. It's 15 attack, and I think it is an 89er. I was bang on. Played this game for too many years. Okay, we couldn't film any of that battle because we were busy coordinating the group of people. Honestly, there were was there a shiny or not? What? We were coordinating the groups here, trying to see who hadn't caught one versus those who had. A lot of lobbies failed or glitched out. People got kicked, and obviously you can't re-enter your battle like raids do. We had 2 of us carrying this battle between us, thankfully, but this is it. Bam, not shiny, and well, it's the worst of the 3 we've got. That's what pays for being the damage dealer and the person who provides the healing in the raids. This last raid was more of a taste of typical battling. It was very problematic. People glitched out, people struggled. There's a lot of extra coordination that goes on with doing these battles. It's very difficult to gauge. You have to go around and ask people, what Pokemon have you got? What moves have you got unlocks and everything like that, and not everybody knows that sort of stuff. There's still work to be done on this whole Dynamax system, and they're kind of Niantic are very much throwing us all in the deep end with it, I would say. But as you can see, 2-star. I'm quite pleased with picking up the 89%, I've got to be honest. But that is it, 7 o'clock, I'm afraid that is it. I'm hoping maybe later in the week we can do a few more, because as it stands, 3 battles in an hour, whereas when you compare it to Legendary Radar, you're able to do like 10 to 15 or maybe even more if you're lucky. Okay, we're in rather a fortunate position here. The raids for Max Monday finished. Then another Articuno spawned in just exactly where we were. We did the battle between 4 of us much easier because it was 4 of us who had maxed out Metagross, tier 3 moves and everything, and we got the Dynamax. So we have ourselves the shiny Dynamax Articuno after 4 raids. And, well, 4 battles, should I say. Really awesome to get this one. It's not particularly good, but if anybody else is out there who's lucky friends with me, maybe a lucky trade. Dynamax Shiny Legendary. Epic. Now, obviously, I'm very aware that 4 battles, we got quite lucky with getting the shiny, although somebody had it on 1st and 2nd battles. Caught there, and 3-star, 10, 15, 13, but it could be worse, frankly, and I'm literally on 10% battery. We have ourselves the Dynamax for the evening. I think it's now very much time to go home and wrap up in the warm. Right, now back at home and actually finishing a video that you guys are going to see on Wednesday. So, I've seen quite a few people on social media having some success with these Dynamax Legendaries, and I'm very, very pleased that some people in our crew managed to have some success as well. Wasn't the only Dynamax tonight, which is great. However, there's room for reflection on this, and I will say if you're not interested in this sort of recap, go and check out the video up there and click and continue watching the channel, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more Pokemon Go content. But now, let's try and dive into some of the pretty major issues that were highlighted significantly tonight. So, first thing is how Dynamax is different to Gigantamax, and how Dynamax Legendaries highlight this problem more than any other tier. When you're battling a tier 3 or a tier 1 or even the tier 4 Toxtricity Dynamax, you jump in, if the lobby of 4 fills up, it fills up quickly, you might have your Pokemon ready. It doesn't really matter too much because the game should recommend you your best stuff. However, when you're doing these Dynamax Legendaries, you really need to know who's in your battle party, and apart from anything else, the last battle we tried to organize, I was trying to organize and say who's got a Dynamax Articuno already, who hasn't, trying to pair people up and get a team of like 2 or 3 good players versus 1 who's a newer player so they get an equal chance, and trying to space it out, but not everybody's powered up their Pokemon or powered up their max moves. Some people haven't evolved things. It becomes very difficult to try and organize that style of event when people don't necessarily know to wait or what they've maxed out, what their moves are. You're dealing with a lot of variables there, and that is all put under pressure because the lobby, when it fills up with 4 people, immediately counts down from 10. So you're like, who's in my lobby? Who's got what, right? Do you have the right Pokemon? No, we don't. Okay, now we've lost. I think personally there should be a ready button even when you've had the lobby of 4 confirmed, because a few of the lobbies tonight I was in and I didn't know who was in my lobby, even though they're local players. They're newer people to the group. I don't know who they are. I need to gauge and see, hey, do you need to do the heal, or do I need to do the heal because I have it unlocked? Do you want to do the damage? Having the short timer on the lobby creates a lot more problems. The other thing that was also highlighted is Max Mondays, as I said in the previous clip, feels drastically different to a raid hour. And yes, they're different facets of the game, but a raid hour, you kind of know what you're doing. You can invite people, you can do whatever, get the number of people, and you can hit ready if you want to. This, you kind of sit around and have to hope for the best, really, because not everybody, unless the final battle like we did, have a team of 4 people with maxed out Dynamax Pokemon, the right counters, and can take it down super quickly, you're going to experience some issues. And we've seen a lot of glitches and issues with the raid system over the years, and there are still plenty today. But the Dynamax thing, if you get kicked out, you cannot attempt to re-lobby. And what it meant is that quite a lot of people got kicked out. Then we had to reformat the whole thing and be like, right, who has been kicked out? Who hasn't had a chance yet? Who's failed their lobby? And honestly, it took us about 25 minutes to try and organize the final 3rd battle of the max hour. People, it's cold, it's dark, it's a winter's evening. People don't want to be doing that. They want to have a crack at the battle and see how it goes, really. But if you do that, you're then presented with the issue that, you know, you could spend half an hour trying to do a max battle and fail it, really. Now, this comes down to another thing, and I've talked about counters before, and I really do recommend anybody who's watching this, or if you're a newer player or an OG player, still work on your Dynamax Pokemon. You need to get a good couple of Pokemon. Doesn't really matter too much what the stats are, so long as they're somewhat decent. Get something, max moves, all done, powered up, and get it to level 40. And get yourself a little variety of things. It doesn't have to be a team of 6 hundos or 3 hundos of every Pokemon. You're better off to go into a battle with a Pokemon that has all 3 different max moves at tier 3 and the Pokemon's at level 40 than to enter in with whatever the game gives you. This is particularly key with Zapdos coming in next week for Max Monday 2.0, as it were. We'll be doing exactly the same thing next Monday. Zapdos has a far fewer counters that we can utilize. We'll be relying on Gigantamax Lapras, the Dynamax Articuno we've just picked up, Cryogonal, and hoping for the best with some generalists. Work on those max Pokemon, people. It is going to be necessary. And once you've got a good couple of Pokemon, you don't necessarily have to keep powering up new ones. You can wait for the Hundo or a 98 or something like that. Also, to continue to get Pokemon, don't be afraid to evolve them, because we've seen circumstances tonight where I think it's better, obviously, that you have a level 20 or 15 Dynamax Charizard versus a Charmander. Given there were a lot of low-level players, though, that's kind of understandable. People may not actually have the candy, which is entirely fair enough. But anybody who organized a group or was a community ambassador or hosted something, let me know in the comments below how you felt, because chatting with Tom, we found that this format was incredibly difficult to actually put together, because you have some people who've done their Dynamax bits and pieces, some Gigantamax, kind of have experience with it, some people who are new who don't have the Pokemon, and you're trying to pair people together, but then you have people spamming in, filling up lobbies, and you can't gauge who's what level, who has what Pokemon, who has what moves unlocked, and there's too many variables, as I said, to try and link together and coordinate, and you end up with a situation where, like we had tonight, it takes you 25 minutes to organize and try and format some lobbies of 4 with people, for then at least 60% of those lobbies to either glitch out or fail completely, which is not what we want to do. So I'm hoping that Zapdos is going to be a bit better. And don't forget, you have Community Day Classic this Saturday, and if you've got a bit of a community around, you should be able to take down some Dynamax Articuno. My final parting words for tonight is this: Niantic really don't have a good idea of the time scale and the scope that is required to help players. I think it's great that they gave us a free research. Absolutely fantastic. We completed it, and you'll see that in a video on Wednesday. But giving people a research with 3 Pokemon included that are all random stats, and you get 50 candy, so you can't even fully evolve these Pokemon. You don't give people enough time to get the max particles to be able to power up the moves and evolve them in order to have effective counters, even if they're starting from ground zero. We needed a more formatted event style like we had, said it earlier in the video, with the simply groundbreaking, the Dynamax Drillbur. That was a full event. Drillbur was boosted. You had a Max Monday. You could get plenty of them. You had more time ahead of the Go Wild area to actually go and take on some Gigantamax Toxtricity and Dynamax Toxtricity as well. There was more available time to get prepared compared to this, and the key thing is the lack of the prime counter. Drillbur gave us a direct counter versus Gmax Toxtricity, being double weak to ground. This time we're using kind of solo, single, super effective Pokemon. We haven't got a prime counter, and that is going to be particularly highlighted with likes of Zapdos and Moltres. We simply don't have anything in the Dynamax pool at the current time that is a rock type which is super effective, 2 times super effective, versus Moltres. And that's what people utilize, is what we were all using versus Shadow Ho-Oh over the weekend just gone. Rock types for fire and flying is what you need. And we don't have that. We're going to have to utilize single super effectiveness like electric and water. Not everybody has G-Max Blastoise and God knows what. So look and scope and try and plan as best you can if you are going to take down these Dynamax Legendaries. I'm hoping in the future we get a bit more preparation work and a bit more time ahead of it, because it was sort of just dumped on us randomly to round out January. Like, here's some Dynamax Legendaries, because the events we're providing are a bit dead. Could be done better, and there's still plenty of work to be done on the whole Dynamax format, I believe. You can let me know whether you agree or disagree in the comments below, but I hope this has sort of been informative and fun to have a look at, because we were able to give these a shot. But now we've got to the end of it, I will say thank you very much to the wonderful Patreon squad, whom without we would not be able to provide the content that we do here on the channel, be it the local grinds for the now Dynamax Legendaries, or the raids, the spot hours, the streams, the com days, whereas travel to com day adventures and elsewhere in the country, or these live events that are coming up. And I'm very excited for what's coming up in 2025. So really appreciate every single one of you, because you are the people who keep the lights on. And if you enjoyed what you saw here, go and check out one of the 2 videos there on the screen for you. There's so much more available here on the channel, and there are videos to come later this week. Tomorrow, Steeled Resolve event is beginning. We're going to have a crack at getting our Pokedex Rookidee, and we do have some more 12-kilometer eggs to get done and dusted, I will say that. And obviously on the Wednesday, there's a final video for the Fashion Week coming up, and it's been a long one to put together, but trust me, this thing is packed with good stuff. So don't go anywhere, hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and I will see you all very soon. And don't forget, spotlight out tomorrow. Do take care.